All right, everyone, it turns out that Joe Biden lied. Oh, wow, that's really a revelation, by the way. Regarding Hunter Biden's business meetings, Joe Biden claiming that he was never there. He wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form. Certainly not in the capacity of a quid pro quo for political purposes. But now it turns out actually on Hunter's laptop there are literally pictures of those meetings. And Joe Biden is there for a couple of them. Now, has this been reported on even once by the legacy media? No. I would think that a scandal involving a sitting president knowingly lying to the entire population during an election, with regards to a laptop, the contents of which were completely covered up by the legacy media for political purposes because Orange Man needs to go, I would think that'd be significant. I think it would be significant that those dubious business partners are involved with international cartels. I would think that's something that, your audience should probably know. But the thing is, if you watch CNN, or even like Fox or something, and that's where you get predominantly your news, you're living in a completely different world from those of us that are actually awake. Now, that's none of you. You're watching this video. So keep in mind, you're like, as far as news goes, you're the 1% because, it's probably not my material alone that you're watching. You're watching a few other commentators. You actually know what's going on. You're getting stories that are extremely important but aren't being covered by the mainstream, lamestream media. Biden flat out lied to the entire country. He swore up and down, sorry, the air quality is low today, it's a little bit hoarse. He swore to the whole country that he didn't meet with these people. Now, the laptop initially, the reporting that went on was basically it's not even real. When it was shown to be real, they were like, well, it's a nothing burger. We don't need to investigate the contents of the laptop because the contents of the laptop are important. And when you asked them why they know they're not important, well, we're not going to investigate them because they're just not important. It's like it's not even quite circular reasoning. It's more like blockhead non-reasoning. And the MSM is flat out refusing to report it. So you'll get it from like the New York Post, maybe the Washington Times, and Breitbart will cover it in the Blaze. But by and large, that's an ideological echo chamber anyway. One of the biggest problems we have within politics, I think, right now is the fact that you've got such a massive artificially concocted echo chamber. It's like it has certainly, even within websites that are quite large and contain users of different political and social backgrounds, they tend to conglomerate around the material that enforces their preconceived notion of the world to the point where, in one sense, actually, especially for the right, I've noticed, because there's no attempt to intrude upon left-wing echo chambers, they get larger over time. There's no attempt to check the disinfo that you get from like MSNBC. I openly encourage all of you to actually follow the lamestream networks on platforms for the purposes of criticism, for the purposes of downvoting and things of that nature. Not saying to raid material, but certainly make your opinion known. Also, occasionally, they say something that's actually correct, like, hey, why is the GOP pretending to be pro-pot all of a sudden with this, what's her name, the athlete there that smoked weed and got cut from the team, I guess. But this is more important. And this shouldn't really be an ideological, like a partisan thing. This is an instance in which the President of the United States, asterisk administration, of course, president name only, in his position, he lied. Explicitly. And we know that because we've got pictures to prove that meetings that he said didn't happen, happened. Why is this not being reported on by the lamestream media? You'd think at some point, can they even consider themselves a press if they're not even reporting on something as basic as, hey, the president basically perjured himself in front of the entire population. The dude in charge was meeting with foreign officials and dignitaries he said that he never met with, as part of a suggested quid pro quo because the big guy needed his 10%. This is the kind of scandal that, if the Republicans had control of the House right now, they'd be launching an investigation, to tell the truth. I strongly suspect that they will after the midterms, but there's like a 50-50 chance Biden's president in the midterms. There's a 50-50 chance it's Kamala. So they might not get their chance. Biden might essentially be in the grave as considered having been a saintly and innocent man. He's not going to investigate a corpse because that's sour grapes. He might be lying in state there with a grin on his face. He's like, hee, I had that last aneurysm before they were able to get the midterms and start an investigation. Ha, ha, ha. And then they have to, they're not going to go after Hunter because he's not a politician. I would think it's significant. By the way, Rudy's still getting raided all the time. He gets raided and kicked out of law for absolutely no reason. You've got the Trump Inc. Witch hunt probe at the moment going on. By the way, all the leftoids, they swore up and down, Trump's going to jail, Trump's going to jail. But Trump didn't get indicted. It was the CFO, Weiselman, I believe his name is. He's the one that got indicted. Yeah, he's going to roll over. He's going to name Trump in a non-scandal because Trump had divested himself of interest at the time that the tax evasion supposedly went on, I believe actually is the case. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah, let me name someone as a co-conspirator who couldn't have possibly co-conspired. It'll make sense. And by the way, New York has somehow, supposedly, according to Rachel Maddow, has authority over Floridians now. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but I do know that it's a pile of horse shit. That's about all. Peace out.